Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of Agric Connect. Today we are here at Springs Farm, a farm here in the Goromonzi area where we see a vast, beautiful wheat crop with over 45 hectares under production. Now we know that wheat is one of the main cereal crops in the bread basket of Zimbabwe, with a demand of over 400,000 metric tons that is required to fulfill what is needed within the nation. Now this means that this is a profitable industry that a farmer who is looking to get into cereal production can venture into. We've got the brother or sister to wheat production, which is barley production, that farmers can actually bring in alongside their wheat when looking to get into cereal production in winter. Now wheat production is mainly a production that takes place in winter, and as we can see the stage that this crop is at, we are at a stage where we are stepping into summer with this beautiful crop that we see as tall as it is, just as we are stepping out of winter. This means our farmers go into production during the early stages of winter and start their production and reap their harvest just as we step into the summer period. So we are here to learn just how you can get into cereal production and just how you can meet the current demand that is existing within the nation of Zimbabwe, where we require more farmers to actually come in and join this sector of wheat and barley production and add on to the food basket of Zimbabwe. We know that the confectionery and everything that we make from flour comes from wheat production in Zimbabwe. And we see a lot of confectionery companies and bakery companies looking to the production that is coming from the farmers within Zimbabwe to meet this demand. This means that the flour production and the demand that I mentioned earlier on is needed to be met by farmers within the country of Zimbabwe. As a capable nation, we are calling out to all farmers to come together and to make a crop that is going to meet the demand that is existing within the wheat industry at the moment. Now we see people referring to wheat as winter wheat. Why is it that we refer to wheat as a winter crop? This simply means that there's a short season and one season where farmers can come into production with their winter crop. Winter seems to be or is taken as a winter crop because of the cool seasons that are required for this crop to thrive. This means that as a farmer, you have roughly 5 to 6 months to get your production in order and go into the season and fulfill the demands that are needed to be met by the country. Seeing as this is a winter crop, this means your planning needs to start as early as the summer period, and you need to have all your inputs in order before the month of April. Going into May, we see that most farmers will have already put their crop into the ground. Today we're going to learn more about what it takes to actually go into this season fully prepared and what it takes to actually get the crop to this stage going into the summer period after the winter period. Wheat production is one of the most lucrative types of production you can get into within the agricultural industry in Zimbabwe, with farmers getting back returns of about $2 to $3 per kg after having put in inputs that are worth $2,000 per hectare. We are saying we can see returns of about $4,000 coming in after you get good yields with good management on your crop. Now we also see as a nation that it is more lucrative for us to avoid having our forex going to importing wheat into the country. With local production, this means that we curb the actual use of our forex within the industry, where we have local farmers producing enough to meet the current demand that we have as a country. So as a nation, we are pleading and calling out to all farmers to begin to look into winter production of wheat as an actual lucrative industry investment that can get you back good returns for your money. Outside of this, winter wheat production is a form of double production, or what we refer to as double cropping, that will help the farmer to remain on the market if he's only a cereal farmer. We have lots of alternatives that we can look to double cropping with. For example, you can double crop your crop with maize and have your maize in the summer and step into it with a production of step into winter with a production of of wheat, or you can also couple this with soybean production. Therefore, double cropping allows your cash flow to remain consistent on your farm as a farmer. So as a farmer, we are looking to you, we are coming to you, and we are saying there's an increase in demand for wheat production within the country, and the flour within the nation is just not enough. So we're looking to farmers right now to start looking to investing in this widespread and vast production of winter wheat that we are looking to meet as a nation without the import of wheat into the country. So again, join us in the next segment as we meet the farmer who is going to tell us just how lucrative it is and just how this production can bring a good cash flow and bring profitability back into your farm. Join us in the next segment as we are joined by the farmer. Hello and welcome back to Agric Connect. Today we are here with a real story from a real farmer here in Shamva area where we are talking about winter production. We are joined by Unico Chikomo, the current Young Farmer Award winner and also the Best Horticulture Farmer Award winning holder here at Springs Farms. Now he's going to tell us just how they've managed to keep such a beautiful crop and what it takes to give your crop its full yield. Hello Unico, how are you today?
No, I'm good. And yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us and having us in your field here today.
No, that's okay.
We are so keen to know as farmers within the nation of Zimbabwe or as aspiring wheat farmers what it takes to achieve such a beautiful crop and what it means to meet the demand that we have currently within the nation of Zimbabwe. So what inspired you to get into the production of wheat?
On this side of the farm, we're mainly into your maize and your wheat. So for winter, we usually do wheat. Then summer, we do maize and other horticultural products. So for winter, we've done wheat here.
So wheat is your winter rotation, basically.
Yes, it's what our winter rotation, basically.
Go into. So why is winter a winter crop? We hear people referring to it as a winter crop only. What what drives it to be a winter crop only?
Wheat favors the lower, colder temperatures that are found in winter. But we planted on the 15th of May, whilst our temperatures were still very, very cold. So that's why winter is referred to as a winter crop.
As a winter crop. So what goes into the actual planting? During the stage of planting, how do you actually plant? Is this a mechanical type of production or there's certain machinery that you use? Because we can see how big this hectarage is. You mentioned that we have 45 hectares under production. What goes into the planting process of wheat production?
We worked on our land preparation first. We try make the land preparation very good in that we try achieve, these are red clay soils. So we need to work on them more because they are more, there's a fear for compaction. So we need to ensure that the soils are very well drained and to try achieve a very fine tilth. We try break the clods because some of the big clods can actually go on top of the wheat and we find that our germination percentage is actually lowered. So we focused a lot on land preparation, and it was mechanical because we then used the Vicon to try ensure that our population is evenly spread out.
So how much, in terms of population, how much seed or how much of the actual plant goes into a hectare?
Here we are using a seeding rate of about 150 kgs of seed per hectare.
Per hectare. And then what drives your choice of varieties that you put in? Is it the yield? Is it, it's able to withstand or the vigor? What drives your choice of varieties that you put in within your...
Basically here we were looking at yield, that's the first thing, but also as a farmer, you need to look at things like your water requirements. You look at your disease and pest resistance because different varieties have got an issue of disease and pest resistances. That's why we went for Nduna.
You've got 45 hectares under production. How are you managing to adequately irrigate all this hectare in one go?
We do it separately because our water is a bit of a challenge. We are getting water from bores. We've drilled some bores, and also from the Mvinzi River. So the water this year has been a bit low. So what we do, we basically alternate between the two fields. One pivot has 30 hectares, then the other smaller pivot at the end has 15 hectares. So we basically alternate.
How much in terms of water is required to keep your crop viable?
A lot of water is required. The reservoir we have, there's it's 150,000 litre reservoir. So we pump that up every day. But now at this stage, we are irrigating about 2 to 3 times a week, alternating between the fields. So it's per each field.
What has been one of your, what are the key challenges that you face within your production life cycle?
For wheat, at this stage, we've done our last spray. We usually have a problem of worms and aphids, but we can say if you can see the wheat is the crop is clean, then very soon we usually have a problem with the birds that come and eat the wheat when the grain is now there and it's a bit strong. So that usually depletes a good harvest. So we are just on the watch out for such birds.
And how do you manage the birds? Do you normally put up scarecrows, or there's another way that you've resorted to manage?
Usually scarecrows and people who go around just ringing maybe metal things to just chase away and scare the birds.
So would you say this is a production that requires a lot of labor? Do we have lots of labor requirements to maintain the crop throughout the cycle?
Because of technology, I can't say we've had a lot of labor, because the planting was mechanical. From your Vicon spraying the fertilizer to your Vicon spraying the seeds. Then for spraying, we were using the boom sprayers, hence the roads. So people will only come in to just scare away the wheat. And irrigation was also the pivot. So I can't say it was intensive in regards to labor and people.
In terms of profitability, I'm sure our farmers would love to know that if they invest in a crop such as this one, with such a vast hectare, what is the profitability of the crop when you go to the market after your harvest?
The wheat is quite profitable, especially since it is what is used to create flour. And you see flour, a lot of industries actually result in flour, then actually the baking of bread and other confectionaries. So I would say wheat is very profitable. Besides the profitability, I think it's something that farmers need to get into for basically our nation, for national interests, in that as long as we've got wheat, we are self-sufficient in regards of food. So besides the profitability, I would encourage other farmers to grow wheat, because it is what makes our country great in terms of food sustainability.
Absolutely. Do you have a final few words to encourage a farmer out there who wants to venture into wheat production, and what it takes in terms of cost of production and inputs? Is it something that you would push a young farmer like yourself to venture into currently?
Yes, I would want to encourage farmers to venture into wheat production, especially other young farmers. Yes, I know that finance might be difficult to come across, but I think there are basically certain areas we can go to look for the finance. Yes, it's not easy, but if one can plan and approach the different areas, there are banks with a number of facilities. A good farmer who plans puts down everything in paper in good time, because wheat, the later you plant, the lower the yield becomes. So if you can do it in good time, maybe beginning of the year, and approach these places, I'm sure it will be good. So I encourage other fellow young farmers to partake into farming and into wheat production to make our country very food sufficient.
Wow, thank you very much for those words of advice. I'm sure we've encouraged a young farmer out there to become great, such as you, Unico. Thank you again for inviting us to your farm. And thank you for sharing the knowledge that you have on the production.
No, thank you so much.
There you have it, farmers. it's possible to get into this type of a production. We've heard mention of government arms that are extending resources to willing farmers to get into this particular industry, and many more out there, so that we meet the current demand of wheat that we have. So we have a young farmer who is thriving, a young farmer who has started, and a young farmer who has encouraged you as a young farmer out there to get started as well. Now join us in the next segment as we hear from an expert who is going to tell us what it takes to be profitable within the wheat production industry in the nation of Zimbabwe. And welcome back to Agric Connect. Today we are unpacking wheat production, and today we are joined by Mr. Sechmo Chiweshe, who is going to delve into the deep about wheat production and tell us at an expert's point of view his expertise on wheat production. Mr. Sechmo Chiweshe, how are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you for joining us on Agric Connect today.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
All right. So, Mr. Chiweshe, we understand that there's a current increase in demand for wheat as the bread basket of Zimbabwe, or as part of the bread basket of Zimbabwe. What is your point of view on the increase in demand on wheat currently at the moment?
Wheat is a very important crop that we need to establish to increase production and productivity in Zimbabwe, considering the demand on the market and the demand on the use of the product or the produce or the commodities. We are seeing the rising of local companies in confectionaries, in bakeries that are doing a lot of biscuits, bread, and so forth kind of products that are coming from wheat. Therefore, as long as we are witnessing the increase in production, in industrialization, then therefore it means there is a need to increase in wheat production.
So outside of the demand of the crop, we understand that a lot of planning goes into wheat production. What would you say is required for proper nutrient planning to achieve a good crop and a good yield on wheat production?
Thank you so much for a very important question. Wheat is a very sensitive crop to nutrition. Yeah, it needs a well-managed nutrition regime or fertilizer regime. Any crop, like any other crop, without fertilizer management or nutrient management, it won't perform to its potential. So to unlock the potential of the wheat yield, we need to follow a very good regime in terms of nutrition supply. So with wheat, we always encourage farmers to plant with compound T that ranges the minimum requirement or ranges, which is 300 kgs and anything above to 450 kgs, depending on with the soil, the environment, or any other aspects that are being considered. Then you also need to know that the major nutrients for wheat, it's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, especially for early establishment. Then we also need to come in with nitrogen for top dressing purposes. Could be a nitrogenous fertilizer such as ammonium nitrate, urea, and any other recommended nitrogenous fertilizers that can be top dressed at 21 weeks and above, especially or soon after a hardening stage. So with wheat, it's a very sensitive nutrition crop that we need. You know, with wheat, there are some parameters and some qualities that we aim to get, such as protein content, such as the grades, such as falling numbers. All those parameters, it is the nutrition that contributes to the level or to the good level of those parameters. So failure to manage our nutrition, failure to come up with a very good fertilization regime, it ends up giving us a challenge onto the quality of the component that we are going to get.
Outside of nutrition planning, we understand good nutrition is always coupled with good irrigation planning. We understand that wheat has adequate water requirements that are also key to achieve a good yield at the end. Can we get your expertise in terms of irrigation scheduling and the water requirements for wheat crop?
In terms of watering during wheat production, like what we have to know that wheat is a winter crop. Therefore, it means it needs irrigation through and through the growing season. So therefore, a farmer or a manager have to be very strict in terms of watering, in terms of irrigation, scheduling, and any other follow-up that are necessary during wheat production. So when we are to start, we have to start maybe by watering to the field capacity. That will facilitate as well as to help our crop, our seed to emerge and germinate very well. So even on an initial stage of establishing wheat, we need enough and well-scheduled irrigation plan, well-scheduled and very efficient irrigation equipment in the infrastructure to support emergence or germination of a crop. Then as we go, we have some time that we call a hardening process or a phase. That's how or when we reduce some of the or completely reduce water for our crop to harden it, as well as to increase the rate of tillering and the number of tillers. Then after that stage, we need to come in with irrigation again. That will also include fertilization, that is top dressing or fertigation. All those issues, all those processes went hand in hand with a proper scheduled irrigation system as well as infrastructure. Like what I have told you earlier on, that it's a full-time irrigated crop because it is grown in winter where we are not receiving natural rains. Therefore, whenever we are going to have a problem in irrigation scheduling, irrigation system, it means a failure or even a total failure because no moisture will be supporting the crop. So we are always encouraging farmers, are always encouraging people out there to be very strict as well as to manage their irrigation scheduling as well as irrigation component, and therefore come up with a very reliable irrigation equipment to support the crop, since it is going to be done through the dry season, which is winter.
Would you say this is a profitable enterprise that farmers who are looking to venture into new industries within agriculture to consider? Should a farmer, or a small-scale farmer rather, look into venturing into a wheat production? And what would your final word of advice to someone who is keen on entering into wheat production be?
First and foremost, I have to encourage almost every farmer who have the capacity and capable to produce wheat, because wheat is a very productive crop with the benefits and also with the good return. So I don't hesitate to encourage farmers to establish and move on from any other crop also into wheat production. Then the other thing that makes an advantage to a farmer, you don't actually need to drop any other operations to wheat production. Why? Because any other crop production is mainly done in summer. Then when the summer is done, you open up space for winter crop. So it won't disturb any other operations in summer, because wheat is a winter crop. So it also increases the productivity and the land usage, as well as the cash flow into the system to a farmer. Why? Because during the summer, you have the cash flow from a summer crop. Then and you add up your profit from the summer to a profit from a winter crop, meaning to say you are doubling your profit. So I always encourage, and I'm encouraging farmers to venture into winter wheat production, because it's very profitable, and it's a very, very good crop that is even supporting our industry, our local industry, even at national, even beyond our own country at large. So people, they have to embrace the production of wheat.
Thank you very much for unpacking so much expertise on wheat production, Mr. Chiweshe. I surely have learnt a lot from you as an expert today, and thank you for joining us on our program today.
Thank you so much, my dear. My pleasure to have this episode.
So that's it from Mr. Chiweshe on wheat production farmers. It's a good crop rotation to consider when looking into something that you can venture into for wheat production. It's also important to seek expertise at all times when putting in crops. Seeing as it's a profitable crop, it also requires a lot of technologies and a lot of knowledge in terms of getting a good yield at the end of the day. Signing out is me, your favorite host, Annette Mtetwa. Thank you for joining us today on this exciting episode of Agric Connect.